So here we are recording the second part in our simple tween animation lessons on for computer animation. Like we said last time, we were creating the bouncing ball, and now this time we're going to create the flipping card and add a shadow underneath. So we're going to get started working back in the animation, same demo animation that I started last time. What we're going to do first is create a new layer and call this layer card. Your other layer with the ball on it should just be the ball. Start on this first keyframe. We're going to use our rectangle tool. Again, just like with the ball, you can make this card any color that you'd like. Let's leave the outline off for now, so no stroke outline around the edges. Any color we'd like, so maybe I'll take kind of like a light green or something for this card. That works for me. What we want to do in order to make this card do a flipping motion is we will go ahead to the 10th keyframe and we will press F6 to add a new keyframe. And we're going to take our sub-selection arrow and we're going to make some changes to this particular frame. So we have an outline selection of yellow for a selection color here, which is making it really tough to see, but I think I got it. So stretching out the top and then going to pinch on the bottom. So just taking each corner and pulling it in a bit, and then what we're going to do is take our free transform tool, square with some dots around the edges, and we're going to squish this down so it is almost flat. And what we're going to do is to make sure that that's in the middle of our animation, we're going to turn on the onion skin and we want to make sure that this shape is right in the center of our card, our full card image. Okay, so once I have it in the center there, I can turn the onion skin back off, and between these two frames I'm going to right click and I'm going to create a shape tween, not a motion tween this time, but a shape tween. You could also get to that by going to modify or insert rather in timeline and create a shape tween. Okay, so right clicking, create shape tween, and what that will do is create a green selection area between these keyframes. And again, a good one will have an arrow that is solid. If it's not good, it will be kind of a dotted arrow. We'll talk about that later on. So that's going to make that shape basically morph from one shape to another one. Now to complete the flip, we're going to add another keyframe right after it. So we'll press F6 on the keyframe right next to this one. We're going to take this part of our card and we're going to go ahead and flip it over. So we're going to go to modify and shape, or rather transform, and we're going to flip vertical. So flipping vertical, so now we have this one and this one where the card is starting to flip over. We want to take our first frame actually and paste it in the end, so I'll right click on that first frame. I will go to copy frames and then click on the last or 20th frame of this animation, right click again and then click paste frames, and that's going to paste that card right back where it was on the frame where I copied it from. So again, I will right click on this first keyframe right there, and I'm going to do a shape tween, not a motion tween again. So we should have a green arrow connecting these two keyframes, and what we can see here is what is happening. So with this card flip, it appears that there's a problem with the way the shape is changing. So sometimes when Flash is trying to recognize a shape tween, it is hard to really recognize what shapes parts are transforming into what. So what we have to add to it is a shape hint. So on this frame right here, because this is the part of the animation that has trouble, this first part is good. It does a clean transformation. Then here is when we get this awkward rotation, which isn't what we want. So right here we have to modify this one. So we'll modify by going to modify, shape, and adding a shape hint. Okay, so when you click add shape hint, you'll get this red letter A. We're going to click and drag that A over to the left corner of this shape, and then click on the last frame, take this letter A and drag it to the corresponding corner. All right, Now let's go back and see if this plays more smoothly. Okay, still having some issues with that shape. So what we're going to do is add another shape hint. And this one now says B. You can add many shape hints to make a shape transform the right way. We'll go to the last frame, add another shape hint on the other corner, so we should have A and B. And the result should be a much cleaner card flip. Alright, so there you have it. A card flip animation and the bouncing ball. So we've used two different types of tween animations. Actually, one thing we will go back and do in this animation is we're going to make these two middle frames in the card flip a little bit darker so that it appears that a shadow is happening when the card flips flat. So this middle color, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my arrow over here and I'm just going to drag it slightly darker, and you can see how the color just changed slightly darker above. So now I'm going to go to this frame here and I'm going to take this arrow again on the side, pull it down until it's slightly darker again, and what that's going to do is make a soft gradual change of the color as well, so that it really appears that the card is flipping upside down. See how it gets darker when it appears inside and gets lighter when it's flat again. Alright, so last thing we really want to do to this animation is to try and create a shadow underneath this ball that's bouncing up and down. So we're going to create a new layer again, and let's pull this one all the way down to the bottom, and we'll call this shadow. So this ball's shadow, what's going to start out is it's going to be an oval that we add underneath the ball, like so. The fill of this will need to be a radial gradient, and one of the colors will need to be black and the other will be white. So what I'll do also is look at this as I want to transform the gradient that's in here. It's a huge circle that just got made on this. I'm not sure why it was made so big, but I'm using my gradient and transform tool to kind of make it smaller. There we go. So that is a little bit easier to see. What I'm noticing is that I want to actually flip the colors in my gradient. So I'm going to go over here to the side and I'm going to take my white and pull it over to the right, and my black and pull it over to the left. Again, I'm going to go back to my gradient transform. I'm just going to pull this so it's more centered and make this smaller. Okay, so now we have kind of like a shaded area that's below the ball. And basically what we're going to do is I'm going to make it get, actually, yeah, that works for that. That happened to be very good placement. So what I want to do here actually is I'm going to make a new keyframe by pressing F6. I'm going to go back to the original and I'm going to make it smaller. Because the shadow when the ball is further away from the surface, the shadow should be a little bit smaller than when it is close to the surface. So smaller shadow on the first frame, larger one in the middle frame when it makes contact, and then we'll go back to a smaller one again at the end. So again, I'm going to copy this frame by right-clicking, going down to copy frames, adding this frame back on the end by right-clicking and going to paste frames. And then what I'm going to do is create a shape tween between each one of these frames. So two shape tweens, just have two green selection type arrows, and when I preview this, I should have a shadow underneath the ball and a card flip going on all at once. Alright, so have fun and hope you have lots of success with this.